Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Today on CityCast Denver, more blocks of the 16th Street Mall have opened up, but the massive $175 million renovation isn't done yet, and 30% of the mall's storefronts are still vacant. But one Denverite has a big idea that he thinks could turn things around for downtown, one that involves a gondola, a bunch of moving sidewalks, and a whole new way to look at the mile-high city. Today is Monday, May 19th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Ryan Ross, welcome to CityCast Denver.
Good morning to you.
So how did you come up with this big idea to fix downtown?
I have an office in the heart of downtown Denver. It's on the 16th Street Mall. It has windows the size of swimming pools. And so every day I look out over the city streetscape. And it's changed a lot in the 3 years that I've lived there. 2 years ago, they began the reconstruction project. And sometime earlier this year, the end result of that reconstruction became apparent, particularly on the portions of the mall closer to Union Station. And I knew immediately that I was deeply disappointed with the reconstruction because it was apparent that the new mall was going to be an awful lot like the old mall. And after having 40 years of the old mall, I thought it was discouraging to get 40 more years of the same thing. So I put my head together and said, what would I do different?
Well, before we get to what you would do different, what were the problems that you see? I mean, other than maybe aesthetically, I can see what you're saying. It looks pretty similar after this renovation, but what else were you seeing that maybe you thought could have been fixed?
The new mall doesn't accomplish anything with respect to challenging the biggest functional problem of the mall, which is that it's dominated by these buses that go up and down that prevent any other use of the space in which the buses need to move. And the buses are not popular. They don't get a lot of riders unless there's a Rockies game letting out. For most of the time, you'll see maybe a handful of people on them. And that struck me as a sign that people don't much care about them. They'll ride them if they have to walk 6 or more blocks occasionally, but more often, the sad truth is if they really have to go further than they are willing to walk, they'll get a ride-hailing car, which just adds to the congestion downtown. So functionally, the new mall is no better than it is aesthetically. We got two problems, aesthetics and function.
Can I ask, do you ever ride the mall ride if you're down there all the time?
Occasionally. I'm a pretty good walker, so often I walk. And some people do. I hate ride-hailing cars. I try to avoid those as much as I can. But I'm not like most people. Most people, I talked to earlier this week to a guy who's involved with the conventions that come to town, and he was talking about what the people at the hotels have told him about getting their guests to the convention center. And they don't walk, even though it's 3 blocks. Americans don't like to walk. They like to have some way of getting them there, a van, a car, maybe some other possibilities, but they hate walking. And buses they don't like either.
Well, let's talk about maybe some other ways to get there, because I think you have this idea that's got a lot of people talking, a gondola. You've proposed building a gondola line in downtown Denver. Why a gondola?
Ooh, because there is no transportation system in the world that is a better fit for Denver, given Colorado's worldwide reputation as the source for a long series of world-class ski areas. Ski areas are very closely associated with Colorado. Gondolas are associated with ski areas. Denver's the capital of Colorado. And if you were looking for a singular transportation system that would prompt everyone to say, ooh, that sounds interesting, it would be gondolas.
I see from a branding perspective, what you're saying is like Colorado, this is something we use in the mountains all the time. If you're a skier or snowboarder, why not bring it to the city?
Someone suggested the other day to me that the name of the gondola system in central Denver ought to be Denver, DEN-VAIR. I think that's got a ring to it.
So you've already got a name for it. How would this thing work?
It works like ride-hailing cars in the air, the same way that you would haul a ride-hailing ride, you would order a gondola, meaning that you would use your cell phone and open up the Denver app, and you would say, as you walk towards a gondola station, I want to go to station 14. I want to go to Empire Field at Mile High. I want to go to Coors Field. I want to go to the Denver Mint. And the system would recognize where you are via Bluetooth connection between your phone and the system. And then it would say, okay, this passenger is going to approach in a few seconds here. They want to go to the Denver Mint. Then a car or cabin arrives from a bay, a parking bay at every station where they're sitting, waiting for passengers to approach. It says, okay, passenger, we're going to designate this as passenger number 14. They want to go to the Denver Mint. A cabin comes down to the station out of the parking bay. You approach. There's a Bluetooth connection from your phone to the cabin doors. The cabin doors open. You walk in, the cabin doors close, and you're off on your ride.
So it would be your own individual car. It wouldn't be like when you wait for the bus and everybody gets on at the same time.
Depends on your preference. There are two types of cabins.
Okay.
Public and private. A public cabin, each cabin has 6 seats. So in a public cabin that you could get onto for a lower fare, there might be a brief wait, because if you're the first person in that cabin at that station, we're going to hold you up for a few minutes to see if anyone else would like to join you in that cabin, up to 6 total. Then the cabin takes off. It knows where all of the passengers want to go. Someone might get dropped off at the DCPA. Someone might go to the state capitol building. Someone might go to the Denver Public Library, stopping only at the stations where one or more of those 6 passengers want to go. If you don't want that, you have the option of getting your own cabin for a slightly higher fare, either for just you. You can ride around wherever you want in Denver with a 6-person cabin all to yourself, or you might have coworkers or relatives or out-of-town guests up to 6, and you can rent that cabin for you and your up to 5 of your friends or coworkers. And once again, either go to wherever you want to go collectively, or you could buy a pass for the day, which allows you to go anywhere and ride around and go to a game and go to a show.
Is it accessible, like physically? I'm thinking about, I have a couple of friends who use wheelchairs. How is a gondola accessible in this capacity?
The cabin doors open at grade, so there's no step up, there's no step down. When the doors swing open, it's level with the streetscape. All you have to do is roll your wheelchair right in.
Do you have any idea of what it would cost?
Yes, somewhere between $100 and $400 million. So I'm thinking that at their lowest, they might be $9 a ride to go from Empire Field to the state capitol, wherever you want to go. But there would also be a day pass, allows you to get on during that day anywhere, to go anywhere. There's also tour passes. So if you want to be taken throughout central downtown Denver on a tour from the air to see all of the attractions of downtown Denver, we'll send you a tour pass There's also monthly passes. The fare structures will be designed to accommodate any particular kind of interest, starting at $9 a ride and going up from there.
So I want to talk about sort of what this would look like visually, because I'm thinking about a gondola in the mountains has a track that will go up a mountain and come down a mountain. And this sounds like a much more intricate system with cars moving individually all over downtown. I'm thinking about the cables. Like, would this like obstruct views of downtown? Like, how high up is this? What would it look like?
There is a cabling system. There has to be fixed guide rails at a specified elevation. I don't specified height. I'm guessing somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 feet. And yes, in some respect, that is going to be interfering with views, but we're not thinking, don't think of something clunky or large or obstructive. The operative words are sleek, modern, slim. They are as minimal as they can be to accomplish the purpose. More interesting probably are the cabins. The cabins are surrounded by windows on all sides so that when you're in one, you feel like you're in a floating, not quite a magic carpet ride, but maybe a floating glass enclosed space that allows you, of course, to see wherever you want to see and avoids making you feel as though you're in a trapped compartment. It's going to make you feel like you're part of the cityscape.
Are there other cities that have something similar? Like, where have you seen this work anywhere else?
The answer is no.
So we could be the first.
We could be the first. And I cannot think of a city anywhere on the planet that is better suited to being the first. Again, because of the way it plays off our signature outdoor recreation. The gondolas that do exist in urban areas anywhere in the world, and there are somewhere between half a dozen and a dozen of them, the vast majority are point to point. So there's one location in the city that can get you to another location, like, for example, in Portland, where you can get to a health sciences campus of some sort from some piece of downtown. And that's not what I have in mind for Denver. I think Denver has a series of 12 to 24 key attractions, all of which get thousands and tens of thousands of visitors every year, and all of which are hamstrung by the difficulty that people have not either getting to just one, much less getting to 2, 3, or 4. So the concept of the gondola system that I have in mind for downtown Denver would let people go to all of these attractions seamlessly with one entrance and one exit. There's no having to get off into another cabin to get your final destination. You go into one, it'll get you there no matter where you want to go.
Anecdotally, talking to people in your life, what's the response been to this big gondola idea?
2 responses. One is, ooh, that's a cool idea. And then they start thinking about all of the details as you are in this conversation, because you're trying to figure out how does a transportation system that works in a ski area, how does that convert into a transportation system for a densely populated urban area? And that conversion in your mind is not easy. But I can help you get started by saying, this isn't your grandmother's gondola system. It's totally different from what you see at a ski area. At a ski area, the cabins are lined up one by one. They can only move at the same speed,
together,
in the same order, together, like they're tied together, and they, in fact, are. But an urban gondola system, as a result of the new technology, is so completely different that it's just this side of mind-blowing.
This episode is brought to you by the City and County of Denver Technology. Ever have a question about the city you wish you could just text and immediately have it answered? Enter Sunny, Denver's 24/7 chatbot. Sunny is a smart, AI-powered chatbot that helps you find your trash pickup day, report a broken streetlight, track street sweeping, and more. Texting 439-311. Hi. Oh,
Dang, she's fast. She just popped right back in there. Okay, so she can help me out with whatever. Also, if this is an emergency, please call 911. That's helpful. Thank you. For potholes or potholes. So I could just put like pothole on Alameda. Those are a real problem. Pothole on Alameda. Alameda and Tejo. Oops. Correct. Autocorrect is making it really hard for me. That's all right. Sunny speaks 72 languages and responds instantly by text or WhatsApp and never makes you wait on hold. No apps, no forms, no personal info. Just help when you need it, totally anonymous. All you have to do is text HI to 439-311 or message 877-53-SUNNY on WhatsApp. Visit denvergov.org/sunnybot. Your city, just a text away. Thanks, Sunny. This episode is brought to you by Denver Health. Not sure if you need urgent care or the emergency room? Denver Health has you covered. For non-life-threatening issues like minor injuries, abdominal pain, and even stitches and x-rays, Denver Health's urgent care is your go-to choice. Just walk right in. No appointment needed. With 4 convenient options, including adult care, pediatric care, virtual visits, and a downtown location at 16th and California, Denver Health makes it easy to get the care you need when you need it. But remember, if you're facing a serious life-threatening condition, head to the emergency room right away. Like seriously, like right now. Like if you're listening to this podcast and you need emergency medical help, you have my permission to hit pause and call an ambulance. Urgent care is here for those unexpected issues that need quick attention but aren't emergencies. Plus, Denver Health accepts most insurance plans. Please turn off this podcast right now, call 911, and then go to the emergency room. When you're sick, think Denver Health Urgent Care. Most major insurances accepted. Something else I saw actually on your website is this idea to install moving sidewalks on 16th Street. Can you describe to me what you're imagining with that?
So I'm so disappointed by those buses and so thinking that those are old school. We need to do something dramatically different. So my concept is to construct a hard shell canopy over moving sidewalks and make sure that the roof of the hard shell canopy was clear so that the sun can come beaming through. Then we're going to have drop down walls on the sides of these canopies so that in the summer when it's blisteringly hot or in the winter when it's cold, we can drop down these walls, pump in some cool air in the summer, pump in some warm air in the winter. Now, all of a sudden, instead of these buses running up and down, and instead of a mall that is not attractive in the winter because it's too snowy and too cold and too bitter, all of a sudden under these canopies, you've got what amounts to indoor mall that you can customize any way you want by putting in an awful lot of greenery, plants, shrubbery, by putting in digital displays that talk about events in town or that help celebrate the holiday, Christmas, Colorado Day, Cinco de Mayo, with music and artwork. And then you can also have advertisements inside this canopy. These interior canopies give you the option of creating an innovative, interesting, architecturally significant, artistic interior space to help first of all, serve as a magnet. People would say, ooh, what's going on in there and what's that like? And simultaneously to serve as a functional way of moving people along. And unlike the buses, there will be mid-block entrances and exits so that if the store you're going to or the restaurant where you want to have lunch is in the middle of the block, you take the moving sidewalk to the middle of the block, you can walk off and then walk onto the portion of the 16th Street Mall for where, let's call it the sidewalk portion, and get quicker to your destination than you could on a bus.
My thought there, though, is a lot of times when you are walking down a mall, or they're designed this way, is to be looking at the businesses as they go, because maybe you do have a destination in mind, but would you be able to see the other businesses if it's something you didn't know you were looking for?
Very good point. And yes, these drop-down walls, they will be see-through. So they'll protect you from the elements, but they will not prevent you from looking out and seeing, oh, that's where I want to go.
So what about something like maintenance? I mean, I worked at a mall for a long time, and the escalators were often struggling just from interior use. What are your plans for like keeping these things going and good? Because you don't want to go out there and be like, oh, this thing's busted. You know what I mean?
Each block of the mall will have 6 moving sidewalks, 3 on each half of the block. Amongst those 3, one will be going in this direction, and the other will be going in that direction, and the third will be down for maintenance or repair. So long as we have there's a redundancy built in there, and if I have 6 on every block, 3 on every half block, then the odds are very good that at least 2 of them will be operating.
So I have to tell you, I looked at the mock-ups of these moving sidewalks and sort of this canopy you're talking about on your website. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of the entrances at Union Station, which to go to the terminal downtown. And I don't think that those are the most successful when it comes to public urban space. Why would this be different?
I would call your attention to 2 differences between what you're thinking of and the moving sidewalks. The first is they don't go down.
True.
I think a lot of what you're reacting to is, oh my God, we're going into the basement. What's down here? What's going to happen to me down
it
here?
does kind of have that vibe sometimes.
And the other big difference is the moving sidewalks on the 16th Street Mall are indoor-outdoors. So when the walls come up, then the only thing that's keeping you from feeling as though you're outside is the roof. And the roof is see-through, and the sun is kind of shining through, at least while the sun is up, so that you don't feel trapped. I think you feel like you're in a space that is cool, and you're looking around, and you're listening to the music, and you're looking at the artwork, and you're looking at that bush over there. There's a lot of sensory stimulation.
Sure.
And it's not in a tunnel because you can literally put your hand out to your left and you're outside and the sun is streaming in. Now at nighttime, we're going to make sure, of course, we got plenty of lighting in there. And I think that a designer of that space, and I'm no interior designer, is going to welcome the challenge of making these spaces the kind of places that people want to be in. And if I can anticipate or make one other point about safety, people don't come downtown right now because they don't feel safe. And one feature of the moving sidewalks is designed to address that kind of concern directly. And it is that because we generate revenue by selling ads and sponsorships, we can use some of that money to operate a security system that's a lot more robust than what we have now. There would be at least 2, maybe as many as 4 surveillance cameras on the roof of these canopies above the moving sidewalks. And the video from those cameras can be watched in real time by a security guard sitting in an office at one or either end of the mall.
Well, speaking of money, let's talk a little bit about that, because I know you said this isn't like your area of expertise is like funding this kind of thing, but do you have any idea of what it might cost to install these moving sidewalks or the gondolas?
Sure. The sidewalks, roughly $100 million, and the gondolas somewhere between $100 and $400 million. Those are substantial numbers, and I don't shy away from that. But by way of comparison, let's talk about what the city is already spending. The reconstruction of the mall cost $175 million, nearly twice what moving sidewalks are going to cost. And what did we get for that $175 million? My suggestion is that when we think about these big numbers, the question isn't how big is that number? The question is, what are we going to get for our money? And to my way of thinking, the $175 million that we spent on the reconstructing the mall was planning malpractice, because we're stuck for another 40 years with the same things we had for the first 40 years. With respect to the gondolas, somewhere between 100 and 400 million.
Have you talked to anyone at the city about this big idea?
Yes.
Okay. Well, who? What? How did that go?
Not well.
Okay.
Because the city is by definition encumbered by its allegiance to the process. You cannot make big things happen quickly in government. So there are two things that are necessary to make big things happen. Go ahead and participate in the process, and I will be participating in the process. I'll be sitting down in the planning meetings and encourage everyone to recognize the value of these ideas and consider them further. There are two other things that are needed. One is the people have to speak from the streets and have to say to the powers that be in City Hall, hey guys, this is worth serious study. Get your rear end in gear and put a few bucks into studying these things, and let's see what we can put together. Maybe the single most important ingredient that you need is leadership from the top. And yes, Mayor Johnston, I'm talking to you.
So, Ryan, I'm thinking about someone listening right now and going, man, this sounds like a cool idea, but it maybe isn't the most realistic. And I wonder, what would you hope people take away from this conversation, even if they don't think it could be a reality?
That they open their eyes to the significance of the problem and the need for innovation. The problem is that downtown is in the dumps. And the problem is that the factors causing that are endemic. They're not going to go away easily tomorrow. And the problems are multiple. Safety, emptiness, no easy way of getting around downtown. These problems act like a mattress, a thick, dark mattress over the center of the city. People don't want to come to downtown Denver anymore. They don't want to come here from out of state. They don't want to come here from the suburbs. And the sad truth is that not even Denver residents want to go downtown, at least not as often as they used to. And I think if we acknowledge the depth of the problem, then it's human nature to say in response, hey, maybe we ought to think outside of the box.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much. This was great.
You're very welcome.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell a potential tourist about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you later.